Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Jeff, and on today's episode of Living with Blank, I have Mathilde here who will share her experience living with scoliosis and several other conditions. Welcome, and thank you for joining.
Thank you.
So can we just start off by just telling us a bit about yourself and kind of just after yourself telling us about your experience living with these conditions?
Yeah, my name is Mathilde and I'm 21 years old. I live in Denmark. I'm a nursing student and try to study as good as I can living with these conditions. When I was 12 years old, I got diagnosed with scoliosis, and my scoliosis started progressing really quickly. So within 6 months, I went from not having scoliosis to having severe scoliosis. I ended up having a huge back surgery where they fused my spine. And after that, it was kind of okay for a few years. But then my scoliosis started to progress again. And I ended up having a second surgery when I was 18 years old. I just turned 18, where my spine got infected, which meant I had to have a third back surgery within a few months after that. And when that happened, I got allodynia and neuropathy, where like a nerve condition, which means that my skin kind of burns whenever there's light touch on my skin. And I got a bowel disorder, IBS, and like a bunch of other symptoms that we haven't really figured out why I got. Like I started having really severe migraines, and at some point there were like I got so many different symptoms, and we haven't really figured out why I got all these after that. But we kind of think it's because of like the infection that was so big that I needed another surgery and stuff like that. So yeah.
So now are you dealing with most of these conditions as well?
Yeah, I am. Especially like all the pain. I have severe back pain from my scoliosis still, and especially the pain from allodynia, which is this burning sensation all over my skin, especially on my chest, my back, my right arm, and my right leg, and under both of my feet. And then I also got something called acne. As I know you had someone else on talking about that. I just got diagnosed with that too. So the pain from that I also have. And then from the IBS, all the struggles I have with my bowel and stuff like that. It's really something that like it's a problem in like my everyday life, because it means that I can't really go out without knowing where there's a toilet and stuff like that. So that is kind of struggle. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Which one would you say is like the biggest challenge, like the one that's hardest to deal with?
Well, I would say that is probably like a combination of scoliosis and allodynia, because the thing that is with scoliosis is that when I first got diagnosed with this, that was really something that made me upset, because I knew no one else having this. And at the age of 12, I was going through this huge back surgery and didn't really know what was happening, to be honest. We ended up going to a doctor in Germany, because the doctor in Denmark didn't think it was severe and it was progressing really quickly, and they wanted me to have a brace, which my parents didn't want me to for some reason. So we ended up going to Germany, and I spoke to this doctor that I didn't understand anything of what was saying, and found out I was going to need this huge back surgery and stuff like that. And I just felt so different from everyone else at that age. So that was really a struggle.
So do you have constant back pain still?
I do. There's not 1 second of a day where I'm not in pain.
Does it affect you like when you go to sleep as well? Pretty bad?
Well, it does, because it kind of makes it difficult for me to fall asleep. So and I keep waking up during the night, because if I accidentally turn on to my right side where my allodynia is, I'll wake up in huge pains. And I can only lay like completely on my back and stuff like that. So it kind of does affect my sleep too, and I have to take like sleeping medications to be able to fall asleep and kind of try to at least sleep through the night. Because if I do get a bad night's sleep, then the next day the pain is way worse and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a evil circle.
Yeah. So you had a surgery when you were like 12 and when you were 18.
Yes.
So how many have you had more surgeries besides that?
I have, like, totally, I've had around 18 surgeries or something like that.
Wow.
I had 3 big back surgeries. Then I had a stomach surgery when I wasn't that old. I just had my appendix out, so that wasn't really anything. But then this December, I had my gallbladder taken out, which it shouldn't be a big deal, but in my case, the scar got infected and stuff like that. So I needed another surgery this a few months after, and there was a bunch of problems with that too, which is what we think called my ignis and stuff like that. So I also have ear problems, and I'm struggling with hearing loss, and I've had multiple surgeries on my ears. I had one big one and then a bunch of smaller ones. So I had a lot of surgeries, but the biggest one have been, like, obviously my back surgeries, where I've been kind of taken out of my life for almost 6 months at a time. Yeah.
Yes. So you've had infections a few times from the surgeries?
Yes.
Like, do you have an idea how that happened?
Yes and no. The thing is, we don't really know. Like, there isn't any condition that I have that's like, that is why you got this. But all throughout my life, the doctors have been noticing that my immune system has been really low, and I've been struggling with illness my whole life, also before I got diagnosed with all these things. So pretty much every time I've been sick, it's been like really severe compared to what everyone else has. So they kind of believe that there is something somewhere in my body that is compromised, and that right now we're kind of believing that's the thing, is that my nerves might be infected somehow, which is also why I've got all these neuropathic pains and stuff like that, without any really obvious reason. So we kind of, like, the doctors have an idea, but there isn't like a complete clear reason why this is happening.
Yeah, that's quite challenging. How do you like manage living with all these different conditions? I mean, it's got to be a complete challenge.
Yeah, it has been, and it is really tough, and it kind of comes in waves. Like, sometimes I'm kind of okay with it, and I just try living my life, and other times I really struggle about it, and feel like everything's just unfair and it sucks. But most of the time I try to stay positive, and I'll always try to be good, like try to talk about it, because I feel like if I keep all of this to myself, then it's harder for me to deal with also. So all of my friends knows that I'm struggling. I talk about it with my family. I've got, like, since I was 12 years old, I got diagnosed with it. I've had multiple times at like therapists and stuff like that. Right now I'm speaking to a really great coach and stuff like that. So I just try to like find ways to find the positive in all of this, because even though it's painful and their struggles, it also has brought like positive things in my life, struggling with all of this. Yeah,
I mean, having all these struggles will hopefully make you a better person, because dealing with all that stuff definitely can only make you stronger if you can suffer through everything.
That's what I believe and hope, at least. Kind of what motivated me to want to be a nursing student and stuff like that, because I kind of want to make a difference in other people's life. I hope that's also why I have my Instagram account, that I hope that my story can inspire other people to try to live through this instead of letting it, letting them stop them.
Yeah, definitely. So what are some like things that you do to kind of like help out with all these different symptoms?
Well, I get like I'm on a really strong pain medicine every day. That's what I like. Without that, I can't manage. I'm in bed all day if I don't take my medicine. And I've heard from a bunch of people like, oh, you should just quit your medicine and then you would be fine. But that's not the case. For me, it's not an option, which I know it is for many people, but it's simply just not. So I'm on opioids every day, and I take methadone and morphine every single day. And then other than that, I use a tense unit. I have one on right now. It's just like a small thing like this that is sending out vibrations all the time, which can, kind of make the pain less obvious somehow. And then I go to physical therapy 2 times a week often, where one of the times I get massage. And then on the other day, I do like light exercises and stuff like that, which is also something I try to do every day, because I know that if I do these exercises, my back gets stronger and then the pain is less. Also, I've just now gotten someone that's coming, like it's, I don't know how you like say that in English, but it's someone from like the system that comes out and helps me do like things in my apartment, like the cleaning and stuff like that. So I don't have to do everything myself, so I can use my energy on other things. And I've got like special pillows in my bed so I don't turn over, and I've gotten like a small cane that I can use when I go on longer walks and stuff like that.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of things. So you're in Denmark. Does like the Denmark medical system, is it like really helpful for all these things? Because I mean, it says you just said you had that person that comes assist, and I'm sure going to the doctors all the time has to be.
Well, yes. The good thing about Denmark is that like everything in the medical system is free, which is amazing in a case like mine, because that would be, I imagine it would be really expensive if I had to pay for everything. So I'm really thankful for that, because that makes, I don't know what would have happened if I had to pay for everything, because it's been a lot. So that is amazing. And then like the whole, like the system is built up so you can get pretty much all the support you need, but there are there are also like problems with the way the system is in Denmark, because everything is free. You have to have like really strong documentation for everything, which means that sometimes if you need something, it is a really long process to get it. I've needed like some compressions to help with my allodynia and stuff like that. And it's taken over 2 years for me to get this through the system. So it's a really long process sometimes. And the rules about what you can get and how you get the help are really strict, which it has to be. So everyone isn't just using it, but it can be a struggle sometimes, even though everything is free.
I mean, it can't all be pros. It has to be at least a few cons. So like you said, if you didn't take your medicine, pretty much you wouldn't be able to do anything. But like, what are some other things that would make your symptoms worse?
Yes. Not taking my medicine, obviously, and then like bad sleep, but also like doing too much. So I have to really prioritize what I'm going to do each day, because I can't both take a shower, do the dishes, and vacuum on one day. Because if I do that, then the next day I'm in bed all day. So every single day I have to prioritize and see, what do I want to spend my energy on today? And if I ever want to go out and do something fun, like I have some adorable nieces and nephews, and if I ever want to spend a day with them, then the next day I'll most likely be in bed. So every day I just have to prioritize and see, what do I want to do? Because I know doing too much will make me hurt a lot. Yeah, so pretty much anything can actually make the pain worse. Like my allodynia get worse if I because it's this light burning, this burning when light touches and stuff like that. Then anything like wearing clothes make my pain worse. Taking a shower, being outside if it's raining or windy.
Yeah.
Yeah. My back hurts more if I sit too long, or if I stand too long, or if I try to walk for like long distances. Or by long distances, I mean like more than a couple of 100 meters. So that's not really long, but to me it is. So yeah.
So you like always aware about all these things, pretty much all day. You're constantly thinking about it.
Yeah, constantly thinking about what I can do to make my pain less.
Yeah.
Or what I'm about to do that might make it worse, and then how I need to change my plans later to fit in breaks and stuff like that. I try to plan out my days really so I know what times I'm going to take a break and plan, so I know I'm not going to end up doing way too much and then not being able to sleep and then being way more pain the day after, because often I won't have time to just lay in the bed the day after. Like I maybe also have something to do that day and stuff like that. Yeah.
So what does like your future look like with all these different conditions? Are you going to have more back surgeries? Are there treatments that you're thinking about doing for some of them?
Yes. We hope that I'll only have one more back surgery. Maybe I can even avoid it, but that's probably not the case. The thing is that if I ever want to get pregnant or something like that, then I will most likely need another back surgery. And there is a pretty good chances that all of the like titanium I have in my back right now, that might break at some point, which will also mean that I'll have to have another back surgery. I also have like slipped discs in my back. I think that's what it's called in English. Which I might also need to get in sometime and get fixed during surgery. So I might need another back surgery, at least one at some point. My allodynia, you can't really do anything about that. I can try like some more like other pain medicines and stuff like that. Right now, I'm waiting for that compression that I just mentioned. So I hope that might be able to do a bit about my pain. And then I'm waiting for some treatment for my acne, which I'll hopefully be able to get next month.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like the pain medication is kind of doing the job for multiple of the diseases, like, because it sounds like at least 3 of them are pain related.
Yeah.
And like when you got prescribed, was it for like, did they have this in mind that you had all these things, or was it really just for one?
Yeah, they did have it in mind. I go to a pain clinic or a pain management clinic. So I pretty much only go there because I'm in all of this pain. And they tried to prescribe something that was both related to my back pain, but also like my nerve pains. And it's kind of working for both right now. But the thing is that the medicine I get right now is mostly for my back, so it isn't really doing enough for my nerve pains. But I need to go see another doctor soon about that, because the doctor I have now think I'm too complicated by now. So he won't change my medication anymore. And that's kind of what the problem has been a lot throughout the years I've been sick, that as soon as I see one doctor, they try to do something and then it's kind of working, but then when we want to increase the dose or add another medication or something, they suddenly think that it's too complicated, and then they send me to the next one that it's kind of like that. So there's a lot of waiting time, because there's almost a year's waiting time before the next doctor can see me. So it'll be almost a year before they can see any change in my medication and stuff like that.
Was it an issue getting these diagnoses?
Yes, it was, or not my scoliosis.
Yeah.
That happened pretty quickly because I was a physical therapist that noticed the curve in my back. So that happened pretty quickly. But later it has been, because the thing is that most doctors don't believe you can be in pain at 21 years old.
Yeah.
So I've been hearing a lot of times that this is just something I make up, that I'm mentally ill and stuff like that. And that's not the case. Obviously,
Yeah.
I've been suffering with like depression and stuff like that because of all this, but it's not that which is causing my pain. It's the other way around. I'm becoming depressed because of the pain, and no one believing that. So yeah, it has been a struggle, and there has been a lot of like mistrust between me and doctors, which has been really difficult. But yeah, especially like the acne diagnosis took a bunch of time to get diagnosed with, but also my allodynia, because that is mostly just a symptom of another disease. And mine had been right after that infection, and no one really believed that an infection could lead to that. So I was kind of, every time I spoke to a doctor, they were like, no, that can't be right. That's not how this happens. You don't have diabetes, which is like one of the most common causes of this. Yeah, so it has been a struggle, and it took a couple of years for me to get this diagnosis, which was really difficult because I was trying to be in school at the same time and having this like severe burning all over my body, and no one believing it was there because it's not something you can see, or yeah.
Yeah, it's really only like you just feel the burn sensation. There's not really other things with it.
Yeah, you can't see it on any scans. You can't see it anywhere. It's just, my experience.
And there are no cures for this, right?
Yeah, there's no cure. The only thing that can make it less is pain medication, and then like this TENS unit, and then compression. But that won't cure it.
Have you tried any like specific diets or anything in that sort of world with this?
I have, especially because of my IBS. I've tried a low FODMAP, I think it's called. And I spoke, like I ate on that diet for a couple of years, and it's been great. And I totally recommend it for anyone suffering with IBS, because it really helped me a lot. But right now I'm struggling a lot with eating because of all the pain. When I eat, I often get like severe pain cramps, and often I end up throwing up and stuff like that. And I also kind of like pass out when I eat because of all the pain at the moment. I've been losing almost 15 kilograms since December.
Wow.
So I've been struggling a lot with eating lately, which is why right now I'm not eating low FODMAP, because the doctors have made it really clear that I should eat anything that I can physically eat.
So is the pain, like, what is the pain feel like? Is it like super like sharp pain, or is it just like constant pain everywhere?
Yeah, well, that's the thing that's kind of difficult, because it's different kind of pains everywhere in my body pretty much.
Yeah.
So like on my skin, on my arm and my chest and my right leg, it feels like this constant burning. It kind of like if you put your hand on a stove. That's kind of how it feels all the time. Every time something brushes my skin, which is like, right now I'm wearing clothes, and every time this moves up around my arm, it's this burning. In my back, it's a sharp pain, and kind of feels like someone is stabbing me constantly in my back. Anyone that has had a surgery kind of knows this, like really strong, intense, sharp pain you can have right after you wake up from a surgery. That's kind of how I feel in my back all the time. And when I move, it's kind of like this dull pain, like something is stuck and you're trying to like rub two stones against each other or something like that. And in my stomach, it's more like a constant cramping. So I had all these different pains, different parts in my, like, yeah, in different parts of my body. And then when all of it just comes together, it's just this really intense feeling. I also have, yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning, migraines, and I have like vision problems because of all of this. And like my eye hurt when I move them and stuff like that. So I have so many different pains and symptoms that, yeah, altogether is just a lot. And I'm really, it's almost hard to keep up with because there's so many things.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it sounds very challenging, just very painful.
Yeah.
How like does your mental health like deal with this? I'm sure you can't really do many things to other people, and it's got to be challenging.
It is. And I have really been struggling, especially when I was around 18 years old and I had my second and third back surgery. I was really struggling. I've had an eating disorder early in my life because everything was just so much. And yeah, all of this pain and stuff like that, it got to me. I wanted to control something and I couldn't control all of the pain. Also, I was really struggling with how I looked because of the curvature of my back and all the scars and stuff like that. But now it's better. But I think it's because I've learned to be so open about it, and I've learned to speak honestly about it, and that I've kind of accepted that it's okay for me to speak to other people about it, and it's okay for me to see a therapist and speak to a coach and stuff like that. Because without that, it is really difficult. And it is because the thing that kind of gets to me is this, one thing is the pain, but the other thing is not being able to do the same thing as all the other people my age. Because I see all my friends going to parties and they do all this fun stuff and I can't join them. And that's kind of what is difficult for me. Like I want to do the same thing as my friends, and I want to be I just want to be like everyone else, but that's just not an option. And you have to prioritize and see how can you then use this for your good, and how can you still be like everyone else in some parts of your life. And then
I definitely think like just being open about it like you are, like that definitely has to help a lot. I know for me, when I started talking more about it, it was definitely more just like a weight off my shoulder kind of thing.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds very, very challenging. And I mean, you seem very, like you have a very upbeat, positive attitude to all of it. I mean, it definitely had to take time to get to kind of where you are now.
It did. And it's still something I'm working on, because obviously I also have days where I just think everything is terrible and don't want to do this anymore. And I have days where I lay in my bed and I just think everything can go away and I don't want to be a part of anything anymore, because it is a struggle. And it just is. But as I mentioned a couple of times, the thing I try to do is try to see what good has come out of this, because it is difficult and has been painful and it's been a long road and all of these things, and there are still struggles ahead. But what good has come out of this? Because I'm way better at seeing like the small positive things in life. I'm way more grateful for the good days. I've learned how important it is to be true to myself. I've learned like how important it is to be there for others, and how great it feels when others are there for you. And I've learned like what I want to do with my life, pretty much. I want to help others. I want to be a nursing student or a nurse at some point. I love doing volunteering in different parts of different things and stuff like that. So it's really also helped me a lot and helped me grow to become a better person and get to know myself. So it isn't all bad, even though that it is a struggle and there are bad days, and there are quite often more bad days than good days. But I
mean, having that positive mindset of seeing just the good in these situations is just so important.
It is.
So you're a nursing student and you want to be a nurse. Like, how does this affect, because you said you have to kind of like choose your energy wisely.
Yeah.
How is this affecting that life?
Yeah, it's difficult because the nursing school I go to, they aren't really accepting of my struggles and my pain and my diseases. So it's pretty much me against them. And they're just some things that they're not willing to do. I've said many times to all my friends and family that pretty much what has saved me right now, according to my school and education, is COVID. Because without that, I wouldn't have been able to go through this at the past year, because there has been so many new things coming to me the last year. So that has helped me a lot. But the thing that I'm struggling most with school is all my clinicals, where I have to go and physically be somewhere and physically be at a hospital and work there for 30 hours a week and stuff like that. But most of the time, I've realized that they're really nice if you just speak to them at the clinicals. My school is not, but the clinical is. So if you just explain to them that you can't have the heavy patients and stuff like that, most of the times they are willing to help you out, because they also want you to become a nurse. Because as I think is that I can be a great nurse without working in a hospital. There's so many other things that I can do when I'm done with school. So what I'm struggling with is pretty much to finish school, because as soon as I'm done, I'm sure I will find something that can work for me, and where I can do good and help others. So the thing is really that the school is the difficult part for me, because they're not understanding and accepting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's a challenge where people they kind of don't understand what you're going through, and they kind of just almost belittle it and just not make it. Is that an issue with your friends and family and stuff, or kind of not anymore?
Well, it's not, but it has been. But I don't really think it has been a struggle that they were belittling it. I think the struggle were more that I wasn't being honest about what I needed them to do and how I needed them to help me, because I was embarrassed about it, and I just wanted to be able to do the same as everyone else. So my friends didn't really understand why some days I could do something and the day after I couldn't, and then I would get annoyed when they asked me about stuff and stuff like that. So the thing is, when I started being more honest about this, I also think it helped a lot of my friendships and my relationship to my family, because suddenly they understand what it is that I'm struggling with. And I'm still kind of struggling it with my family sometimes, because they kind of forget it. And obviously people forget, because when you look at me, I look normal. You can't see that I'm in all this pain. So it's kind of the thing that you constantly have to remind people that, wait, I can't do that and stuff like that, which can become annoying at some point. But I think that most people are really accepting of it, especially if you're honest, and if they're not, then they're probably not the ones you should have in your life anyways. That's kind of how I live by it. If friends don't want to change the plans and do something a bit more, do something I can be a part of, instead of every time we have to hang out, it has to be going on long walks and stuff like that, instead of maybe we could just sit on a bench and have a chat and eat an ice cream or something like that. Then if people are not accepting of that and willing to change the plans so it can fit me too, then I honestly don't really believe that they're good friends anyway. So I don't really want to spend time with people who are not accepting of me as a whole. But it is difficult sometimes, and there are people who struggle with it, and I totally understand that, because it's not something that most people speak about. Most people just hide everything they're struggling with. So the fact that I'm so honest about it can sometimes be, it can be difficult for people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I mean, it really just sounds like a constant. Is you said your friends kind of forget. Do you ever kind of forget that you're dealing with these things?
I do, or not really, but because it's all the time. Obviously, I'm all I'm always in this pain, but sometimes I think I want to forget. So a thing is that I think I sometimes say yes to something that I know I probably shouldn't, or I'm not like totally honest about how bad I'm feeling one day, and I kind of try to push myself to go anyways. And then it gets like, it's kind of like conflicting because I'm not being honest and they're maybe not fully aware. And then I'm pushing myself to something, and then maybe I'm not in a good mood because I'm in a bunch of pain, but I said yes anyway. And then, yeah, so I really believe that when I do that, it actually makes everything worse because they see me in a bad mood and stuff like that, and they don't realize it's because of my pain because I didn't say that.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm really working on always being honest, and if I cancel, then make it clear that it's not because I don't want to, and I want to get invited again the next time, because that, yeah.
Was it difficult to like find this balance?
Yes, it was. And it's also something I'm still working on, like how much do you have to say and when do you say things? Because obviously some people just ask to be polite, like, how are you doing today? And then maybe that's not when I should tell them that I'm having a crappy day and I'm just in bed and stuff like that. So it's really this balance about like, when do you tell something and when do you not? And who actually cares and who doesn't, who are just trying to be polite. And yeah, it really is a difficult balance. And also like, because I want to tell my friends and stuff like that, but I don't want that to be our friendship. Like, I don't want to be the one that's just sick. I also want to be Mathilde, who can have fun and all of these other things that I also think I am, because I'm more than just my illnesses, but it is a big part of my life. So therefore it also has to be a part of the friendships, but it doesn't have to be the whole friendship.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to wrap it up, but I want to ask just one more question, and kind of like, after living with all these conditions, like what's something that you wish you could like tell someone who's just getting diagnosed with like their first condition?
Yeah. That I think that would be that it's okay to speak about it, and it's okay to be upset about it, and it's okay to be happy about it, and all of these things, because there's so many, like, it's a roller coaster of emotion to get diagnosed with something. And it's so important to figure out how you want this to affect your life. Like, obviously some things are out of your hands, but you can always choose how you want to react to it, and how you want it to affect your life in like emotionally. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for speaking about just everything you're going through. And I hope everyone listening can learn a lot and kind of just have a positive outlook on life in general. And no matter how tough things might get, just be positive about it. So thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
So on that note, we are done. I hope everyone enjoyed listening, and thank you again.